Okay, today we are going over a huge lot of dinosaur and prehistoric animal figures from eBay. If you've seen these videos before, I do these all the time because they are some of my favorite videos to do. Not only do I get a bunch of figures for a really good price, it just seems that you all really like the videos as well. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. So we're just going to go right into this video. So yeah, this has a lot of really good figures that are harder to get. Almost all of them are retired. There's some CollectA, some Safari Ltd, maybe some other stuff too, but that's the stuff that's coming right off the top of my head that I can think of. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. So this lot is that lot that I mentioned in that channel update upcoming video, which I teased with this figure because I mentioned that there's a prehistoric mammal in this lot. That's the reason I won the auction for. So if you saw that video, you'll already have an idea of what I'm going to say right here, but if you don't, I'll explain it right now. This lot actually didn't start out as a lot. This seller that I bought for multiple times with stuff like that Allosaurus lot had listed one particular figure that I really wanted, which was a prehistoric mammal that I didn't have on auction. So I won that auction, but they also had a few other listings that I really wanted, so I messaged them if they could just include all those like individual lots into like this lot, just send me an invoice or whatever. So I would pay like one set shipping price instead of all the shipping prices. And I don't think all sellers would be willing to do this, but like I said, this is a really great seller that I bought for multiple times. And even in like that Allosaurus lot, they threw in an extra figure for free. So it's just a really great seller. So I thought if any seller on eBay would be willing to do it, it was this seller. And well, they did it. So I went from getting like one figure to a bunch. And the reason why I asked for them to do this instead of just buying all the figures individually was because it would have been like I either would have paid like one set shipping price of like $10, or I would have paid like $5 5 times. So it just made more sense to just ask if they could do this, because I mean, if they didn't, I could have just bought the figures individually and it would have been fine. But I figured this would have been easier for me because, you know, I would have paid less on shipping and he could have just shipped them all in one box. So I think it worked out for the both of us really well. And I thought also if I asked for all of them together, he might give me a slightly better deal at least, and he did. So, you know, like I said, I already saved money on shipping, but I also saved money just for him giving me a better price of dropping it a little, just because I was buying all the stuff at one time, so it made it easier for him. So I think it was a win-win, like I said. And for the one figure that I won the auction on, the listing was going to be like $30, but with all the invoice stuff, it ended up being like $60 almost exactly. I think it was like $59 something with shipping and tax. But to buy all this stuff individually, I think it would have been like $80 to $90, so it worked out really well for me. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So, like I said, it's pretty much just a bunch of little mini lots forming one really big lot. So here we have the first lot. This was what was listed as the pterosaur flock. This was a lot that he had listed that I considered buying earlier whenever it was like the only listing, when it was just its own individual listing. So we'll just show off everything in it. So first in this is the Carnegie Collection. Unfortunately, this one has a broken leg, but I knew about that from the listing, so I was aware of it. And then it also has the Safari Ltd Pteranodon. This is that one that's got like the flexible wings. This one I already do have though, so I'll show that, the one I already have off in just a second. And then it has the Safari Ltd Pterosaur, which I believe this figure is actually still in production. It's a really cool figure. I believe it's a pterosaur that was discovered in Africa, and at the time we didn't have the species or the genus name yet, so they just listed it as pterosaur, which is kind of unfortunate. I know it can kind of fit in for some other pterosaurs, like maybe Ornithocheirus or Anguara, but I'm not for sure exactly which one it would fit best for. But I believe this is actually based off an African pterosaur that was discovered. And then the last figure is the other Safari Ltd Carnegie Collection Quetzalcoatlus. This is that gray version, so there's two different color variants of this figure, the orange and gray versions. But yeah, like I said, this was a lot that they had already had listed that I'd considered buying earlier, but just didn't. And whenever I ordered that figure and asked if they could throw in a few things, and they said they could, and this was one of the lots that I definitely wanted to get with it, because like I said, I'm trying to complete the Carnegie set if I haven't mentioned it in this video, so I definitely wanted to get at least one of the Quetzal variants. So to get both of the variants, I was completely happy with that. And then I just didn't have this Safari Ltd pterosaur. So I was very happy to, like I said, get the lot. And here's, I'm going to just, I know like in my individual figure reviews I show off a bunch of comparisons, but I am going to show off a few comparisons throughout this lot. So here is the Safari Ltd Pteranodon that I already had. These might be slightly different colors, honestly. Honestly, this one seems like a more orangey color on the wings, or like the arms on the wings. And then, yeah, like the feathery look on it looks just an oranger, while mine's a browner one. So this one might could fit in for like a male, being like the brighter colors. Even though I think the male Pteranodon would actually have like, you know, a bigger crest. And also the beak is just kind of warped. So mine and this one will actually be fairly easy to tell apart. And then I did want to show off the two little baby Schleich Quetzalcoatlus figures. Just because they kind of look similar to these two figures. So this Schleich Mini Quetzalcoatlus, being this white one, looks kind of similar to this one, just both being white with a little bit of like orange. I know this one's gray and white, but just with the like creamish color beak. And then this one being that yellowy orange color. I mean, I know the wings are gray as well, but so I know they're not copies exactly, but they just both kind of remind me. So these two fit in very well as babies of these two. So, and like I said, these two definitely work very well for my collection as like a male and female pair. I'll probably use the orange one as a male just because, you know, the brighter colors are usually more common in male animals. So a duller like gray makes more sense for a female animal. And now we'll get into the next lot. So we'll get these guys off screen and we'll have like a big group shot at the end showing everything off at the end. Okay, so next up we have the Raptor lot. This was another lot that they'd had listed for a while that I'd considered getting, but whenever I asked if they could throw in some stuff, this was one of the other ones that I really, really wanted to get. And this is the Carnegie Collection Old Velociraptor and the regular Wild Safari line retired Utah Raptor. Oh no, this one doesn't, oh wait, it does stand. It's just not the best stander even for one that's on three things. Maybe it's just where it's a little warped, but usually if I have a figure that doesn't stand the best, it's just really easy. I usually just line it up like that next to another figure just so I don't have to worry about it knocking down on the collection. So it's really not that big of an issue if it does have a slight standing problem. But it seems now that it can stand fine. Maybe it was just how I was setting it at first. But these were two that I both wanted a lot and needed. The Utah Raptor, for a while I've wanted to get because I've always had the Safari Ltd Baby Utah Raptor. This is one that I've had in the collection since like ever since I can remember. Ever since I was really little, I've had this figure in the collection. So I'm so glad to finally have the baby one, or the adult one, to pair with the baby one. I've almost always just used this as a baby Velociraptor because it does look very similar to another Velociraptor figure that I have, but it actually is the baby version of this Utah Raptor. So I'm glad to finally have the pair together. And then the Carnegie Velociraptor. This is a figure that, like I said, I'm trying to complete the Carnegie set. And while I don't love this figure, both of these figures, you know, have their inaccuracy of being unfeathered. So they are outdated, both of them. But they are both older figures. And I think at the time that both of these figures came out, that the feathers weren't like a known for sure thing on Raptors. I mean, they might have been hypothesized that they should have had, but this is 2002. Yeah, we might have actually known about feathers by that on that Velociraptor. And this Utah Raptor is 98. So both around that time that we were really understanding that raptors and some dinosaurs were feathered. But these figures, like I said, aren't feathered. But since they're older figures, you know, it is what it is. But also I wanted to mention about this Utah Raptor. I really wanted to get this just because I haven't had a really good Utah Raptor in my collection, just because, well, Safari did release a new Utah Raptor, which I think is in stock right now, so I definitely am going to try to get that figure at some point. It looks really good. It definitely looks like the bigger, bulkier Utah Raptor, but it's really, this figure looks a lot like a Velociraptor more than a Utah Raptor, honestly, to me, just because it's so thin and stuff. But I definitely am glad to finally have the figure, and wanted to get that figure for a while, and the only reason why I've waited so long is because it's a cheaper, easier to get figure. So I figured I would end up getting it in a lot like this, pretty much as a throw-in. So definitely am glad to finally have it, though. Next, we have the freebies lot. This is what I was mentioning about this seller being so good. Not only was this seller willing to just give me some stuff for free, or not only was I saying that they were so awesome because they were willing to let me make this a lot, they also even sent in some free stuff. They sent in 2 figures and a base. I mean, the base is kind of whatever to me, but the figures, I'm glad to get more figures. So here is the little base plate that they sent. And then here's the figures. They sent in the Safari Ltd Velociraptor, another featherless Velociraptor by Safari. This one was 2007. It definitely probably should have been feathered. So this one does not want to stand for me. But the freebies that I got in this, actually had both of these. But I was very happy to get them because I'm just happy to get any free figures. Plus the Dilophosaurus that I have. This Dilophosaurus, I have this one as well. And mine has a broken crest. I think it was like that way whenever I got it. I got it years and years ago, like way before I started this channel at Michael's. So I'll show off the 2 figures that I have. This is mine. As you can see, it's the back of this crest is slightly broken. So glad to get another one. So those 2 will obviously be very easy to tell apart due to the crest. And then this was my Safari Ltd Velociraptor. So funny, this one's in like perfect condition. Oh. And then this one is in definitely not in the best. It's honestly like the paint stuff. It's actually in fairly good shape. I mean, there's definitely a few spots. This one's probably just not going to go on display for me with the standing issues and just not loving this figure by Safari. Just being as recent of a Safari Velociraptor as it is, just not having any feathers, I think is just definitely not something I'm happy with, honestly. But definitely was glad to get these as throw-ins, like I said. Especially considering, like I said, the Dilophosaurus I had has that broken crest, so definitely was happy to get a new one. And then we've got just a few figures left. First up, we have the last little, like, lot set. These 2 were actually both individually listed, but he just sent them both in one plastic bag, so this is the Safari Ltd Baby T-Rex and the CollectA Concavenator. These are 2 figures that I've really liked for a while, so I'm happy to finally get both of them. I had to pause the video to get a few more figures that I wanted to show off for comparisons really quick, but that's the only reason why there was a slight break. But yeah, definitely was glad to get both of these figures. This is the Safari Ltd T-Rex Hatchling. This is a figure that's been retired for a little bit, but it's still a really great figure that I really like. It's got like a rubbery feel on the egg, but then the body itself feels like a normal Safari figure. Definitely looks like a little chunky Rex in the inside, though. And then this is the CollectA Concavenator. I do know that a lot of the older figures like this one, they've started making bases for, so hopefully this one can stand fine. But like I said, if it doesn't, you know, we can always just... Okay, maybe this one will stand fine, but if it doesn't, like I said, I can always just set it next to a figure that will keep it up. But this is actually not even the first Concavenator I ordered this week. We also ordered the Carnegie figure, which actually that video should have been up like a day or 2 ago, because I'm actually recording this video right after having uploaded that video. So we'll record it and uploaded that video, but it'll come out like I said, like 2 days later. So yeah, not even the first Concavenator I got. Definitely like this Carnegie model a little bit more though, but still really like this figure. And actually subs in fairly well for like a juvenile for this figure. So, but it is an older CollectA figure, and the older CollectA figures, if you know, just are some not the best figures. Some of them are okay, but some of the older CollectA figures are just not that good. But this is, for one of the older CollectA figures, this is actually one I really like. If I didn't mention, I think I did already, but I did just recently review this, and I will put a link to this Carnegie one. But yeah, the CollectA one, I do like it, even though it is like in that older CollectA range, but I still really do like this one. And for the T-Rex hatchling, I really, really love this figure. Honestly, it was one that I was like kind of mixed about getting, but both of these figures, I'm glad that I requested both of them, because just this is a really cool figure. At first, I wasn't as sure how much I would like the figures and the eggs, but this one and the Louis egg by Safari, I really like both of these figures a lot. And this is definitely, I think, supposed to go with the color scheme of this Safari Ltd T-Rex and hatchling. The green one with like the dark green head definitely, you know, has that limeish green and that darker green on the top. So I definitely think this is like, obviously not to scale with these figures, but you know, that range. But yeah, really like this T-Rex hatchling a lot. And definitely glad I picked him up. And like I said, so all those figures, except the one Dilo and the one Velociraptor that were freebies, all those other ones were in, well, the Pterosaurs were like one set, the Utah Raptor and Velociraptor were one set, the Concavenator and the T-Rex hatchling were separate, and then the base and the Velociraptor and Dilo were like the free figures. But this is the figure that I ordered the whole lot for. This is that Prehistoric Mammal that I really, really wanted. So we'll just get right into him right now. This is the Safari Ltd Arsinoitherium. This is a figure that I really, really have liked for a long time. I think this is a figure that maybe one of my cousins had. But yeah, really, really love this figure. Didn't realize how much pinkish it has into it. Definitely gives it like an almost like hippo-ish look. But I really, really love this figure. And this is the figure that I used that Embelodon to tease. Definitely love Safari's Prehistoric Mammals. I think Safari is one of the best prehistoric mammal producing companies. And these are even some of the older ones. So definitely really love both of these models. And one thing that specifically makes this one super hard to get, unlike the Amebelodon and like the Smilodon, saber-toothed cat, and the like woolly mammoth, this one is the only one that I believe they didn't reproduce. So Safari did have some like really, really old figures. Like there's one woolly rhino that's like super, super old that they didn't reproduce. But whenever they reproduced this one, so they started remaking this one, but that was slightly different. But and like the woolly mammoth, like I said, they started remaking some of those ones. The deal with the Carnegie line ended. I think the Carnegie line didn't want them making mammals or something. I don't know what the deal was. But they re-released all of the mammals at some point, or almost all of them, except this one, I believe. I don't believe they remade the Arsinoitherium, or if they did, I don't remember seeing it. But so glad to have this figure. Such a rare figure. And this was the one, like I said, that I won the auction on. So I'm so glad that I won the auction for it. And if I am to review any of these figures, this is probably the one that I will review. Yeah, I'll probably review this figure at some point in the future. Definitely really love this figure. So yeah, I guess we'll just get like a big group shot of all the figures together and then go over the featured figures and stuff. But as I'm doing that, I will say a few things. So obviously, I think that I did really well in this lot for all the figures I did. Definitely think some of these figures are really, really great. I mean, I think almost all these figures that I ordered were really great. Very happy with all of them. And like I said, this is a really great seller. If you don't take away anything from my videos, well, there's a few things I would like you to... Obviously, I want you to learn a little bit about prehistoric animals, but one of the things is definitely try to use apps like eBay and Mercari if you are collecting some of the older retired figures, because just it's one of the best places that, at least to me, eBay and Mercari specifically are the two best places I believe to buy retired figures, just because people, you know, are constantly listing stuff where it's different sellers. I mean, sure, there's going to be some bad sellers on some places, so you might, you know, get some not great stuff. And my Velociraptor literally just took out the Utah Raptor, but you might not always get the best stuff, because some sellers, like, you just got to be careful about some certain sellers and just make sure you look over figures and stuff. But there's a lot of really great sellers on these websites and a lot of great figures that you can get for some really good prices. So would definitely recommend using apps like eBay and Mercari to get figures. Okay, I just went and organized them all for like the big group shot of all the figures. But yeah, this is a really great lot, and I think you all can find some really similar lots to this. Maybe not like piece for piece, obviously, but a lot of great lots like this you can find on websites like eBay and Mercari. So I would definitely recommend going out and try to find some figures like this for yourself. So yeah, we'll go over the featured figures, and I think that'll be the video. This is the Carnegie Collection Quetzalcoatlus. There's the two color variants here, the orange one and the grayish one. Then this is the Safari Ltd Arsinoitherium. This is the Safari Ltd Pteranodon, the Safari Ltd Pterosaur, the Safari Ltd Velociraptor, the Safari Ltd Carnegie Collection Velociraptor, Safari Ltd Utah Raptor, Safari Ltd Baby or T-Rex Hatchling, Safari Ltd Dilophosaurus, CollectA Concavenator. So yeah, for the lot itself, it's all Safari with some Carnegie Collection and CollectA, and then we'll go over the extra featured figures, the figures that from my collection already that I also showed in the video. So then we have the Safari Ltd Carnegie Collection Concavenator, the Safari Ltd Baby Louie Egg, the Safari Ltd T-Rex and Baby T-Rex, the Safari Ltd Amebelodon, the Safari Ltd Baby Utah Raptor, the Schleich Quetzalcoatlus Minis, the other Safari Ltd Velociraptor. This is that same one that's already been shown off in the video. The Safari Ltd Pteranodon, which, like I said, was already shown off in the video. And the Safari Ltd Allosaurus, which was also already showed off in the video. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I definitely got some cool videos coming up. There's going to be one more video for sure, and then the big updated collection video for 250 subscribers. So I want to thank you all once again for getting me up to over 250. Such a big accomplishment, and I can't thank you all enough for that. But I'm going to keep posting awesome content like this. At least I hope you all think it's awesome. But yeah, I'm going to keep posting content like this as long as you all keep watching. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'm out.